line. Today I introduce myself to the YouTubes. Hello, hola, selamat pagi, enchanté. My name is Awkward Audrey of the House of Weirdlings, lady of anxious laughter, giver of too long explanations, maker of indecisions, and member of honorary wallflowers. Just call me Audrey, alright? I've created this channel as a way to challenge myself and to connect with other people over life's awkward moments. Like that time somebody said, hello, and you said, great, and you? That time you're brave enough to interject into a conversation. Butt joke. Only to be met with blank stares. Is that a rabbit talking? That time you hung up your coat and everything fell down on top of you. Oh. No! Oh no! It's painful, right? Why is it awkward? What does it mean to be awkward? The simplest explanation is, I don't fit in. It's cliché because it's true. For example, you don't often know the social script and feel left out. And people end up talking past each other instead of to each other. Your timing or volume is considered inconsistent or out of place. You're so nervous that other people can't relax around you. People suspect you are just a bunch of bunnies in a trench coat. Are you a rabbit? Operation has failed! Flee! Flee! Retreat! Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you have to upset the status quo and say the uncomfortable thing. There is a time and a place for all of that. This video is about coming up with a strategy for the times you want to fit in. I'm not an expert by any means, but I have been trying this social thing for a while and have had some success. So I have come up with some tips and tricks for my first video. How to avoid being awkward all the time. Number 1, prepare, prepare, prepare. Practice ahead of time, asking and answering simple, everyday questions. So, how was your weekend?
It was good.
And be ready for canned or way too honest answers. Practice relaxing, or at least appearing relaxed. Number 2, start safe. Take your time and find simple ways to put yourself and others at ease. Usually this is done with small talk, but sometimes done with alcohol. Warning, do not overdo the alcohol. If you find yourself overthinking at all, you may not be ready to share what you are thinking just yet. A common rule of thumb is to not bring up sex, religion, or politics right off the bat. Bunnies really like sex. What? Conversation is a performance skill. And if you're like me, it is an uphill battle. And that is fine. Number 3, be bold. If you can't get past small talk or realize that you aren't contributing anything to the conversation, you're probably stuck. And that is okay. Everyone gets stuck. But it's up to you to come up with a strategy to get unstuck. You can use humor or a joke.
I love flying. It is so
You can
much
ask
fun.
them off-the-wall questions like, what would pigs do if they could fly? If done right,
Ooh,
you could put the other person off balance in a charming way. Ask a friend to help you out. Now, asking for help is a bold move, but getting another brain in the mix can ease some of the stress that comes with carrying a conversation. Number 4. Empower yourself. Find ways to affirm yourself, build confidence, and enjoy little successes. Similarly, recognize belittling self-talk for what it really is, mental abuse. Each person's strengths and fears will vary, so strategies will vary from person to person, or bunny to bunny. Number 5, practice regularly. I have found that when I go several days without talking face-to-face with other humans, I lose conversation skills quickly. Conversation is not natural for me. So I need to get out and practice regularly before my hermitude settles in. You may be all, well, that's well and good, but I inevitably do something awkward. It's like digging my own grave and burying myself alive. For instance, that time you blanked out on all knowledge of that person you had a deep conversation with and are now asking them all the same questions.
I got the job. My dream job at Gardening Corporate as a caretaker. We talked all about it last weekend.
That time that you were brave enough to ask for help, only for the answer to be painfully simple. IT department,
Yeah, this laptop isn't working.
have you tried plugging it in?
Of course not. Of course not.
That time that you tried to explain something better, and in fact explained it worse. At this point, you are really glad the earth is swallowing you whole. Sweet death, take me into that early grave. Yes. How to bounce back when you are inevitably awkward. Number 1, ignore it and move on. When I am nervous, I often overthink every little thing I say and do. But often, people aren't even thinking about me at all. Put some distance between you and that thing you think is awkward so that you can feel at ease again. Number 2, lean into it with humor and sincerity. Sometimes conversations just take a turn for the worse and become obviously awkward. By not acknowledging it, the other people might not be able to come up with a way to move forward, and they'll become uneasy. Giving them a way to resolve that uneasiness allows them to move on. I really put my foot in my mouth. I guess it's not so lucky after all. 3, excuse yourself. This is usually when you are too tired or nervous to salvage the conversation. Or you farted a real stinker. Run! Save yourself! 4, realize you are not alone. Just because you feel out of place doesn't mean that everyone else fits in. Sometimes the conversation is just awkward. So don't take on the burden of things that you can't control. What can you do if you notice someone feeling out of place or awkward? Ask yourself these questions. Do you or the other person feel safe? If not, do what makes you or them feel safest. If someone keeps making insensitive jokes or comments and is not paying attention to your discomfort, you do not have to abide them. Whether that means speaking up, changing the topic, or walking away, that is completely up to you. If you have a mental illness that makes you feel unsafe in even ordinary situations, recognize your triggers and decide for yourself if it has any merit. Ask yourself if there are any biases that indicate that this person is not like us. By recognizing these biases, you are able to ignore them and find common ground. Do you have the energy to attempt a successful interaction? This is where I usually have most difficulty. And I recognize that this is a personal problem. I have my own strategies to overcome it ahead of time. If you feel safe and have the skills to make the situation more comfortable, then you must try to make it comfortable. I'm not asking you to be disingenuous or let others monopolize your time. I was uncomfortable and felt out of place. The reason I was able to learn all these skills was because someone took a chance on me. Because of that, I was able to find my own voice and connect with people in a more sincere way. I enjoy hearing, "You're not shy. You're a social butterfly. I don't think you're awkward, but you're so outgoing." It's a lot of hard work, but it continues to pay off. Now, I'm still awkward. I will always be a work in progress, and honestly, I'm okay with that. So, when you like something innocuous that people decide makes you weird, when you try to meet a new group and you aren't sure it went well, or you're worried your dance moves might end up as the next joke viral video, it's okay. You are not alone. We're all figuring it out. By being engaged, considerate, and honest, we can make real, lasting connections with each other and the world around us. My name is Awkward Audrey. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.